Sorry, that chair there is doing my head in. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. We are triple streaming. Ladies and gentlemen, the crux of tonight's live stream is the Cross of St. George, England, and why it terrifies them, ladies and gentlemen. People are terrified of the Cross of St. George. So if you're just joining, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining right now, I can see quite a few people who just jumped on. So that's what we're talking about today, guys. We're also going to be briefly touching on what's been happening in Dundee. So you guys have all seen the videos. I'm going to play the video in a little bit where you've got the two girls, you've got the two girls there. They're clearly distressed. One of the girls has got like both of her hands full. That's all I'm going to say while I'm on TikTok. And they're clearly distressed. I've said many times, guys, we're going to get to that situation in the United Kingdom whereby the police won't help us, but they won't let us help ourselves. You're going to phone the police at some point and you're going to say, hey, police officer, yeah, we're getting broken into. Okay, well, we can't do anything. Can I defend myself? No, that's illegal. If you defend yourself, we'll come and arrest you. Literally, this is what we're having now, ladies and gentlemen. We have the girls... an Adventure Boy, he's saying thank you so much, Adventure Boy, for reposting the live stream. But right, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, I want to give you guys a little, I want to give you guys the story of St. George. I'm going to give you guys the story of St. George, all right, guys? I am going to give you guys the story of St. George, and I'm going to explain to you people, to you guys, to you fantastic lot, why people are terrified of the Cross of St. George. People are terrified of what it actually symbolizes. So gather around, ladies and gentlemen, pull up a sandbag, get yourselves a cup of tea, because I'm going to give you a right proper story of the Cross of St. George and St. George himself. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is my own rendition. This is my own version of George and the Dragon. So I'm going to give you now, ladies and gentlemen, George and the Dragon by The Raven. All right. So gather around, ladies and gentlemen. Pull up for a tale of proper guts and glory. So, and a bloke who wouldn't know the meaning of "sod it, I'm off" if smacked in the face. So this is a story, ladies and gentlemen, of George and the Dragon, all right? So let's set the scene. Doncaster, all right? This is where I'm setting my scene for George and the Dragon, all right, guys? Okay, so this is where we're setting the scene. Doncaster, a town of Yorkshire grit, gritty charm, no-nonsense folk, suddenly finds itself in the midst of a dragonial takeover. The dragon with massive scaly breath, like a poorly tuned diesel engine. It's parked itself in the nearby valley of Doncaster, demanding tributes. It's demanding, like some medieval debt collector wanting a power trip. First, it's asking for sheep. Then it's asking for cows. And now it's got its eyes on Doncaster's very own Princess Karen. But let's be honest, she's not going to take this lying down. She's the sort who would give the dragon a piece of her mind before handing over the tiara. So enter St. George, a knight with a chin like a bulldozer and a heart as British as a Sunday roast. Now, he's not your poncy cape-wearing type. No. This lad, he's got a sword, a shield, and a stubborn streak wider than the M1. He rolls into Doncaster and he sees the absolute mess and he thinks, right, this overgrown reptilian is about to meet its match. The locals, they're terrified, and they've actually offered up Princess Karen as a way to appease the beast, to keep the beast happy. But George, he's having none of that. He, under no circumstances, is George at this time. Is George going to let Princess Karen be taken by the fiery beast? This is George's country, George's people, and by God, he's not letting the fire-breathing beast take Princess Karen. So the battle begins. The dragon's claws are sharp. They're fierce. He's like a mechanical beast. his fire hotter than the flames of the sun. George's first battle is an absolute disaster. His lance splits, it breaks, and he kind of wishes he didn't buy it from Temu. He's thinking, right, maybe I should have stayed at home for this one. But no. Here's the thing about George. He does not give up. It's not in his vocabulary to give up. He doesn't know. George does not know the meaning of stop. He doesn't know the understanding. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand the word surrender. He continues to fight. He just will not give up. So George, he gets up. He dusts down his armor. He goes again and again. Each time the dragon beats him off, thwarting George's attempts. The flames roar. The dragon now starts to doubt himself, but George keeps coming like a terrier after the postman. And there's the kicker, the dragon, this hulking, arrogant beast, scales dark and scary, starts to wobble. He's looking at George. He's looking at the battered but unyielding knight, and he starts to see it in his eyes. The dragon starts to worry and he starts to doubt himself. The dragon's never been defeated before. He's not used to this. The dragon doesn't understand somebody keep fighting and keep not giving in. Most knights would have gone by now, crying away to a lesser town. But George is Yorkshire's finest. He's stubborn. He's powerful. He does not give in by sheer bloody mindedness and the love of his land and his country. George does not give in. George continues to fight, and with every clash, George's sword swings harder. His resolve like a Toyota Hilux. Unstoppable. The dragon is starting to second guess himself. The dragon's starting to have second thoughts about his own capacity. His roars are getting his roars are getting less powerful and less scary. As George moves forwards to the dragon, he takes a fatal swing, a swing that could have felled an oak tree. George lands the killer blow right through the beast's armor. The beast goes down. He's slain. The scales and smoke arise. Doncaster erupts and Karen is free. Karen is free, ladies and gentlemen. George has defeated the dragon and he has slain the beast. He's slain the dragon and Princess Karen is free to rule over Doncaster. George doesn't hang around for medals. He's not that type. He nods. He says, thank you very much. He gets back on his horse and he's gone. He's gone. Doncaster can keep Karen. And England is still standing tall. Now, the lesson for everyone, ladies and gentlemen, the lesson here, and this is why people are scared of the Cross of St. George, because the lesson that we take, that everybody takes from the Cross of St. George, is to never give up. When you're up against it, whether you're either up against a dragon, overwhelming odds that are stacked against you, people think of the Cross of St. George and it drives people on. It unites people. It brings people together. And that's why I think, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that little monologue. And that's why in fact, I'm not sorry. If you're sorry, that's your problem. And that's why people are afraid. And that's why people are scared of the Cross of St. George. Right, guys, let me jump and get some comments before I continue with this. Right, lots of comments jumping up, guys. I'm just going to go to the bottom. Kevin is saying, do not fear, Captain Kevin is here. You're all going to be all right. So don't worry. Oh, Russell Pizza's here. Yeah, Russell Pizza, you was unmuted, but now you're gone. So Russell Pizza, you're gone, mate. You're gone. You are gone, Russell Pizza. He jumped on. Like St. George, I just banished him straight away. I didn't even have a fight with that beast. He was so weak. Dave Bry is saying, did George even exist? Seriously. So look, I don't think it matters whether whether George existed or whether Princess Karen existed. Hang on. Yeah. I don't think it matters whether George existed or whether Princess Karen existed. What really matters is what unites people behind the cross of St. George, what unites people behind that little red cross, what unites people and brings people together. And look, guys, I've said this lots of times, like over a year ago, when people are united, it's not going to be one person or one thing that unites people. It's going to be something that's ideological, an idea. And I think the idea, where's that comment? Let me just go back to that. Well, hang on. Ooh, David, oh, there we are. Sorry, guys. So David Bright on TikTok is saying, did George even exist? And I don't think it matters whether George existed or not. What matters is the idea, and the idea behind the cross of St. George. That's what really matters, and that's what's going to, and that's what is uniting people right now. That cross of St. George, guys, it's so elemental, it's so pure. It's so absolutely uncorruptible. I mean, how quickly can you draw a red cross on something? You can draw a red cross on pretty much anything, you know. And that's what's going to unite people. I would speculate that these red crosses are going to be absolutely everywhere. And that's what people are afraid of. People are afraid of the English uniting and becoming greater than the sum of their own parts. It's something so simple. It's something so simple, but there's so much that goes behind it. If you understand, you know, and I know people do, if you understand the symbology behind the cross of St. George. Now, another thing I wanted to get onto real quick, guys, is the two girls in, I've got the video up somewhere, the two girls in Scotland, the two girls in Dundee. Let me just play this video, guys. I'm going to play this video. You guys will know what I'm talking about.
Yes, you have a nice...
So if you guys have not seen this video, there's two girls in Dundee. As I understand it, they're 12 years old. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's happened. Now, this is allegedly being filmed by by a migrant. There's obviously been some altercation behind the scenes. And these two girls, you guys know what I'm doing, know what I'm talking about, right? That symbology. This is what we're talking about, the symbology here of these two girls fighting back. It's so powerful, guys. I mean, it's very distressing to watch. I mean, you know, our eldest daughter's 12. And when you watch this video, guys, when you watch this video, you can clearly see these girls, these 12-year-old girls, you know, they're shaken and they're in fight or flight mode. That's what these two girls, they're in fight or flight mode. Like one of the girls, she's got ripped trousers, and this is where it is, guys. It's absolutely crazy. So we have got a scenario now where, and look, guys, I don't mean to like I don't mean to be celebrating myself, and I'm certainly not. But how many times have I said we are gonna have that scenario whereby the police are not coming to help us, but they do not let you help yourself? Let me continue the video, guys. I mean, this is what it's come to in the country, ladies and gentlemen. This has literally what it's come to in the country. 12-year-old girls getting arrested for defending themselves. You could not make this up. So how many times have I said, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to be in that scenario. And I don't care if this honestly, guys, I don't care if this live stream gets banned anymore. I couldn't, honestly, I'm beyond, like, when you've got, like, listen, guys, if you've got kids, or if you've had kids, or if you know any kids, or if you were a kid at 12 years old, what drove that girl into that? And look, guys, I know a lot of you guys are commenting. If I hang on, let me jump in the comments. Steph Drum is saying the girls were the ones that got into trouble. Yes, I agree. No, you know, I don't agree. You are right. I don't agree with it at all. Let me go back on that. So the girls are the ones that got into trouble. So now you've got this scenario where, you know what, I'm not even, while I'm on TikTok, ladies and gentlemen, I will not say that these migrants were harassing the girls and the girls defended themselves. I will not say that, ladies and gentlemen, while I'm on TikTok, because that would get me banned. That would get the algorithm would absolutely swizzle me and I will be taken down. What I will say is, when I jump over to YouTube, I will give you guys a little bit more of an in-depth analysis of what I think has happened here. But Steph, I thought it was Stephen, I'm sorry. Steph Drum is saying the girls were the ones who got in trouble from the police. So look, guys, let's just go back through a few things I've said. I don't know if you guys can remember, but when I was talking about the revolution in the United Kingdom and the direction of travel, I actually said Elon Musk. I did. I said Elon Musk. Guys, please put it in the comments if you can remember me saying this. I said, what's going to happen is, if we're in the United Kingdom and there's mass protests, all sorts of stuff going down in the United Kingdom, if somebody like Elon Musk comes out publicly and he says, I will fund people's legal fees, or I will get the best solicitors, or if you can overthrow this, I will fund it. I talked about Elon Musk, I talked about money, and then lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk today has been going absolutely crackers. And look, guys, I'm not going back on anything I've said on Elon Musk. I totally understand what's going on here. Let me just find his recent comments. So Elon Musk recently came out and he said, look, guys, Elon Musk has just posted the cross of St. George. Let me get this. And he's got 224 million followers. Give me a second, guys. So basically, Elon Musk came out earlier and he said he wanted to, let me try. Oh, there we are. So Elon Musk, 2 hours ago, ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk posted, I would like to help fund. Ladies and gentlemen, am I not just always right? Am I not just always right with everything? Do you know what would be better? If everybody just listened to what I said, did what I said, everything would be fine. If you want to know what's happening in the future, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, all those things. So Elon Musk 2 hours ago posted, I would like to help fund legal action. And this is the thing, guys, funding. When you're talking about Elon Musk, you've got to understand that is an unlimited finance. That is unlimited money. I would like to help fund legal action against corrupt officials who aided and abetted the word we're not allowed to use that sounds like grapes, of Britain, per the official government inquiry. Please reply below for consideration. And then Rupert Lowe is going to be heading this up. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a wild ride. This is going to lead undoubtedly to the United Kingdom becoming part of the United States. And if I'm being honest, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even see that as a bad thing. I don't. If we get the Second Amendment in the United Kingdom, if we come under the US Constitution, I would be all for that, ladies and gentlemen. But look, guys, we can see this happening now in real time. Also, I just want to reach, so the girls in the girls in Dundee. Have you guys seen how much that's trending now? So you see these, these things that are symbolic. when this comes, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to be one person leading this charge. Oh, look at me, I'm this guy. It's going to be an idea. It's going to be an idea people can unite behind. Right, I will jump up and get some comments, guys. Right, I'm going on YouTube. Greta Numberland is saying, hi all, hi little man. I don't know what that means, Greta. So Greta Numberland means hi little man. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's an insult or something, but look, Greta, identify yourself and tell me what you mean more, because I genuinely don't know what that means. If you want beef, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to call me out, I'm absolutely fine with that, all right? Just remember, I'm vastly intelligent, all right? And you're there on your little keyboard. And I'm not saying anyone's calling me out right now, but if anybody sat there and they want to call me out, that's absolutely fine. Just remember, all right? I'm vastly intelligent, all right? I'm probably smarter than, in fact, you know, I am smarter than you. If you're trying to call me out, I'm clearly smarter than you. So like yesterday, we had some guy telling me that I was racist because I didn't know when the Notting Hill Carnival started. Like, if that's your level of intellect and you're trying to call me out, guys, just don't even waste your time, guys. Don't even waste your time. Paranoid Aussie is saying, what's your YouTube channel called? Ladies and gentlemen, I am streaming today. I am streaming on TikTok, I'm streaming on YouTube, and I'm streaming on X. My YouTube channel is The Real Raven 1. My X is The Real Raven 1. And my TikTok is The Real Raven 1. And also, I think my my app store is called The Real Raven 1. If I can ever get that, up and running. Paranoid Aussie is saying everything. It is. Paranoid Aussie, I agree. Everything. Like, you can't do anything anymore. I'm going to the pub. Oh, are you sure you're not a right wing? What are you on about? I'm going to the pub. Ah, yeah, but if you go to that pub, stop it. Give over. Stop. Why is Dave to catch a look in? I do not care anymore. Ladies and gentlemen. I don't care. The Cross of St. George, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's live stream is about England, the Cross of St. George, and why it terrifies people. Why people are terrified. They are, ladies and gentlemen. People are terrified about the Cross of St. George. Sean McKay is saying the United States know that GB is FKD. I don't know what FKD is, ladies and gentlemen, while I'm streaming on TikTok. I have no idea what that means. I will pin it, Sean McKay. But obviously, when we jump over to YouTube and X, we will talk. We'll talk more about that. John Harvey is saying, "Who's broken the chat? What's happening in the chat, John? John, tell me what's happening in the chat, John, and then we will continue because I have got a little right. Right, guys. I don't know. Anaza, who just tried to join the chat as a co-host, all right? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't mind if anybody wants to join as a co-host. I don't mind if anybody wants to join and try and outsmart me in real time. I mean, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to try and outsmart me in real time, honestly, like, good luck. Good luck, really. I remember that guy, Count Dangler. What's his name? You guys can remember Count Dangler, right? He was drawing beef on me. And I said to him, right, Dangler, all right, come on a live stream. We'll talk in real time. I actually inboxed him. I said, listen, Dangler, all right, tag him if you want, Dangler. All right. I said, right, Dangler, I get it, mate. All right. You know, what I will do is to put my kiddie gloves on. What I said to him is, I won't even ask you any questions. I will just answer your questions. Didn't respond, didn't reply. He went home. He went into his little cave, probably in his mum's bedroom. Okay, all right, whatever, Dangler. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back on track. Ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about the Cross of St. George. Why it terrifies people. And rightly so, ladies and gentlemen, because when a nation is united, when the English are united, there is no stopping them. They are greater. They are greater than the sum of their own parts. And that's why the Cross of St. George terrifies people, guys. Because the Cross of St. George, I mean, I don't want to be one of those guys. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. But honestly, you know, if I see the cross of St. George, it drives me crackers. It drives me bonkers, ladies and gentlemen. It drives me bonkers. So obviously, in a good way, like I can be at the end of a run, so that I've done, I don't know, probably like so that I'm running in the gym or out running, and I see the cross of St. George, and I'm about to quit. Not a chance. I ain't quitting. If you see the cross of St. George, you are not going to give in. It's elemental. It's symbolic. It drives people to succeed. It drives people to be greater than the sum of their own parts, and that is why the cross of St. George absolutely terrifies people. People are terrified. They are. People are terrified. And it also unites people. Like, can you imagine right now? Can you imagine if you're scared, you're worried, you're watching all this stuff on YouTube, you're watching all this stuff on X, and of course you're watching my channel, and you're seeing all the calamities, all this, all that, everything happening. You're seeing pro-Palestine, you're seeing pro-different countries all over the world, and then you see the cross of St. George. That is somebody saying, I got you, bro. That is literally what it is. The cross of St. George is people saying, I got you, bro. I got you, bro. And that's why it terrifies people. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue. In fact, do you know what? Let's not continue. Let's jump over to jump over to YouTube. Right. I don't know what's going on I don't know what's going on in the comments in YouTube. I don't know what's going on the YouTube comments. I'm just going to leave the YouTube comments for now because I think people are talking among themselves, so I'll just leave that at the moment. Nadine is saying, right, Nadine, hang on a minute. Right, Nadine, if you're going to call me out for not knowing, right, Nadine, you're being polite right now, but let's continue. I hope you don't be rude. But it's more the government it terrifies. Nadine is saying, but it's more the government it terrifies. Yes, no, I agree. It terrifies the government. And you know, it's not actually the government. I would say no. So Nadine is saying the cross of St. George terrifies the government more. I would say no, because it doesn't terrify the people in the government. It terrifies whoever's controlling behind the scenes. And I don't know who that is. I genuinely don't. What I do know is that Keir Starmer's not smart enough to run a country. I know that Angela Rayner's not smart enough to run a country. I know that Wes Streeting's not smart enough to run a country. I'm pretty much convinced that Jess Phillips is not smart enough to brush her own teeth in the morning. Like, and you know, and that is the top team in the United Kingdom. So I would say it's not the government, it's whoever's controlling the government. Zoe Dean is saying, got several outside my stream. Oh, this is what I mean. So Zoe Dean here has just encapsulated what I've been saying perfectly. She's saying she's got several crosses of St. George outside on my street. And I've never felt prouder to be English. So exactly, this is uniting people. It's giving people common purpose. When you understand the story behind the cross of St. George, which is to never give in, to never stop, to keep going, even when you're facing overwhelming odds. That's why people are terrified. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I did have something planned for tonight, but I think we're just going down there. Listen, guys, I think it's just a free for all this evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's going absolutely wild. John over on YouTube is saying exactly right, my friend. The cross of St. George is united. Everybody who is English and makes them feel really proud to be English. And that's why they've got people taking them down. Must be paid. It might be paid. It might be the mind virus. It could be a mixture of both. Maxine Cooper is saying, hi, Sean. On Lorraine this morning, they were discussing the flags. They haven't a clue. Matt over on YouTube is saying, Raven, it also represents Christianity, hence the red cross of St. George. Died because he was a Christian and would not change. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let me get into this. What time is it? I've been on for like 30 minutes now, and I've not even started. I've not even started the crux of this life. I don't even think we're going to get through it, guys. I think it's too wild tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's too wild. You guys are absolutely wild tonight. Listen, guys, okay, if you're joining us for the first time, the crux of this live stream is the cross of St. George. Why it terrifies people. Like you can imagine if you're like, you can imagine a bad guy, right? If you're a bad guy, whatever bad guy you're thinking of, right? And your enemy is united. Your enemy is united by the cross of St. George, and the cross of St. George represents never giving in. You can kind of see how that would terrify people who want to do you harm, because you get these Islamic fundamentalists and they talk about we've been trained since birth, like, and I think, what have you been trained with, mate? What have you been trained with? But their ideology is to go to wherever and get their 72 kids or whatever it is. So like, there's no comparison, really. There is no comparison. There is absolutely no comparison in this, guys. And if the English unite, and I hope they can, and I hope they can unite with the Scottish and the Welsh and the Irish, I really hope everybody can unite over this, guys. And I hope that Red Cross of St. George can prevail. So we are talking today, ladies and gentlemen, on the cross of St. George, why it absolutely terrifies people. And I do want to keep mentioning the two Scottish girls. You guys know what I'm talking about, okay? Oh, hang on. Yeah, I'm not in the mood to argue today, guys. I'm not in the mood to argue. Yeah, KJ Ping, whatever his name is. No, Ping KJ. In fact, no, King PJ. I doubt you're King. He's saying no one is English, only British. Yeah, he's gone. That's sacrilegious. If you're English, you're not in. Okay. To be English, first of all, you have to be born in England. You have to be born in England, all right? You have to be born in England. You also have to have a certain mannerism. You also have to be English. You have to respect English. You have to want to be English. It's got nothing about the color of your skin, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the color of your skin. And the example I will always give is Chris Eubank. I mean, I will concede that Chris Eubank is more of an Englishman than me. I will. As far as it goes, he's far more eccentric English than I am. Yeah, I'm not going down that, guys. I'm not. He's blocked. He's gone. He can come back next time. I don't mind, but he's gone, ladies and gentlemen. So Linda over at YouTube, real quick. Linda is saying, my husband is the least patriotic person I know. Is now buying a flag. He has a full 360 and feels patriotic due to the current situation in the United Kingdom. This is what I'm talking about, guys. The cross of St. George is going to unite people. It is. It's going to unite people. It's easy to do. It's easy. You can do a George's cross on anywhere. You can draw a red cross on anything. And when people see that cross of St. George, you're like, I got you, bro. And you're seeing people come together now. Look, guys, I'm going to play this video again. It's quite distressing. I'm not going to show you I'm not going to play the video. I'm going to play the video. I'm not going to show you the imagery. I'm just going to play the audio. You guys know what I'm talking about, okay? So this is the video from Dundee, the two Scottish girls. They're very distressed. They're 12-year-old. What do we think's happening here? What, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, a question for the chat. A question for the chat here, guys. What do you think is happening here behind the scenes? Or has just happened?
Yes, you have a knife. Why are you fucking with us? Show the knife. 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 That's it. That's it. Show the knife. Show the knife. That's it.
First of all, I want to add, why are fully grown men socializing with 12-year-old girls? I don't know. I don't socialize with any 12-year-old. Oh, she's my friend. She's my friend. I'm a very good friend. Like, why are fully grown men socializing with 12-year-old girls? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a culture thing. So for those of you guys who don't know what I'm playing, that is a video. That's a video. It's been widely shared online. Two girls in Dundee. I don't know what's happened behind the scenes. I really don't. There's people speculating. There's people saying what's happened, and I've got no evidence that that's right or wrong. What I do know is what I'm seeing. Two highly distressed young girls, and by the looks of it, they look about 12-year-old. They're saying they're 12-year-old. They're defending themselves. They're defending themselves against someone who I'm told is a migrant. I don't know if that's the case. Like, but he's clearly a fully grown man. You can tell by his voice. So, like, what scenario brought them together? What scenario brought them together? I don't know. Maybe they were just playing badminton together, and and one of them said it's your serve, and he said it's not my serve, and she said it's in and it's off the line, and one of them said no, the line's out, and the other one said no, the line's in, and that's where maybe that's how they got the argument going. I don't know. What I do know is it just does not seem normal that fully grown men. It doesn't seem normal, guys, that fully grown men are associated with 12-year-old girls. It doesn't. Just seems a bit weird to me. Just seems a bit weird. Oh, and then some people are, listen, guys, you guys in the comments in TikTok, you guys are telling me what has allegedly happened. Look, guys, while I'm live streaming, I have to be very careful about what I'm saying, about what happened or what didn't happen. I don't know what's happened, and nothing official's come out, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that. I can pretty much read between the lines, and like I understand what's more than likely happened. But if I say something, it's fake news. I get the video banned. I get the live stream stopped. Not that I'm bothered at this point, guys. So I've passed caring. But we are in a war right now, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a war. And that war is either going to be won or it's going to be lost. Remember what I always say to you guys, all right? Wars should be avoided at all costs. They should, absolutely. Like, nobody wants to get into a war. Nobody. If you understand what it takes to win a war, nobody really wins. You just get losers and less losers. But if you're in a war, you've got to do everything. You've got to do everything in your power to win that war. Avoid at all cost, win at all cost. That should be the mantra. Melissa is saying Canada needs to be standing up too. The problems in Canada as well, guys. Mass problems in Canada. It's unbelievable. All over the world. We have, like, I hope the Cross of St. George can unite people in Canada as well. I do. Yeah, look, guys, you guys in the comments are saying what he did to one of them. I can't comment on that. There's nothing official. There's nothing official come out of there. Lisa is saying, why are people getting arrested for having the flags on their home. It's insane, isn't it, guys? It's absolutely insane. So while in America, so DJT in America has made it illegal to burn the flag. Here in the United Kingdom, it seems illegal to put the flag up. Look, guys, it's because of what that flag represents. It's because of what that flag, you know, it's just two red lines. It's so easy. It's two red lines. It's easy. It's elemental, but it provokes so much emotion. It provokes so much thought. It provokes so much unity. And that's what people are afraid of. People are afraid of the English uniting, coming together and standing together with each other, becoming greater than the sum of their own parts. Positive mind, body, and spirits is saying it's because we've been suppressed for too long. I agree. We are rising up with comradeship. And then from now is saying, hello, Nate. This may be dumb question, but mate. I think from now might have been on a little bit of the sauce. From now over on YouTube, he's saying, hello, mate. This may be a dumb question, but if Trump is not on nobody's side, why does he not sell weapons? Why does he not sell weapons, Russia as well as Ukraine? Okay, not complicated answer. The Russians don't know how to use them. Simple. The Russians don't know how to use them. You have, like, if you're operating a military, especially a Soviet military and a Western military, their systems are totally different. It's kind of like Mac versus what's the operator? I don't even know what. Windows. It's kind of like Mac and Windows. The United. That's a fantastic way of putting it, actually. So from now, he's saying if Trump is not on anyone's side, why is he not selling weapons to the Russians? Because the Russians operate on Windows and the West operate on Mac. They are not compatible. You can't compatible. Like, so the Russian small arms is 545. Western small arms is 556. They won't fit. Russian medium machine gun rounds basically is 7.62 short, whereas Western machine gun rounds are 7.62 long. Won't fit, not compatible. And Soviets have 82 millimeter mortar, whereas the West have an 81 millimeter mortar. That they just don't. Then they're not compatible. So for Russia to buy Western munitions, they would have to change their whole system. Now, if you want to go real deep into this, it's just not feasible because all their logistics, all their transport is geared up around that system that they're used to. So their trucks, their planes, their trains, their everything to transport, all their logistics, that is geared around transporting Soviet Russian munitions. You give them Western munitions, you have to change everything, and it doesn't really work. So I can go into it quite deep if you want. Lynn is jumping up again and saying, well, I know if I'm ever in trouble and I see a building with an England flag on it, I know I'm safe to ask for help. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is just why we're, why this flag, why this unity, why it's uniting people, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're joining for the first time, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. All these videos are that I'm live streaming right now. I'm triple streaming. I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm streaming on X, and I'm streaming on TikTok. All these videos are going to get uploaded to YouTube in real time, guys. Look, I have totally gone. It's totally gone, ladies and gentlemen. It's totally gone. I was going to talk today about the voices of free speech, hate incidents, and how the United Kingdom is, what's the word I'm looking for? Social and cultural issues in the United Kingdom. That's what I was going to talk about. But I think we're just swizzling on the chat at the moment, guys. We're just freestyling on the chat. Look, guys, if you're just joining us for the first time, Elon Musk is going absolutely bonkers at the moment on X. Like, if you just go and check out his check out his profile. He has he's pinned the cross of St. George. He's talking about, from 12 hours ago, 85 cities in Britain where local authorities were complicit in the of children. It's unbelievable what's happening, guys. Look, and I've told you that this is coming. It's part of subversion. It is subversion. We're heading to a point, ladies and gentlemen, where Britain will become part of the United States. Mark my merry words. Mark my merry words, ladies and gentlemen. This is coming. And I'm all for it, ladies. I'm all for it, guys. If we get a Second Amendment, if we come under the if we get a constitution and we can hold the government to account, because like I probably say this every other live stream, we have no way in this country to hold the government to account. We have no way to hold this government to account. In America, they have this second, I should probably go and get it. In America, they have the Second Amendment, but we have no legal framework to hold the government to account in the United Kingdom. Two sides is saying, let me pin this comment on TikTok. Two sides is saying this whole situation makes me angry. I just want to walk into Parliament. Oh, I'm not going to repeat what two sides are saying, but he wants to, or she, I can't see your picture. Two sides wants to walk into Parliament and write a very strong worded letter. That's not what two sides are saying, but I can't repeat what two sides are saying. But yeah, two sides, what you have to understand is this is all by design. This is all by design. It's all by design. And look, guys, I need to be quite clear. I don't think Nigel Farage and the Reform UK Party are going to change anything. I really don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. We need more drastic measures. Like, what is the let's just war game this out, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, guys, let's war game this out. So if you're watching right now, guys, I need your feedback on this. I need your feedback. So here's the question, right? Let's war game this out, all right? If Nigel Farage, let's just say Nigel Farage wins at the next election, all right? He's won. He's the prime minister. And he's got everything. Best case scenario for Farage, all right? How do you do those mass deportations? Like, all right, so Farage has won. He's won. Then what? Right, we're going to do mass deportations. How? How are you going to do that? Where are you going to send those people? Well, let's just say, for example, one person. We'll use a case study. Let's just say Ravenel, right? So Ravenel comes over on a boat, right? Ravenel, he came over on a boat and he claims he's fleeing a war in Syria, all right? So he claims Ravenel comes over on the boat and he claims he's fleeing persecution in Syria. All right, just go with it. So he come over, he claimed that, right? Okay, Ravenel, got you, bro. Get yourself in the hotel. We'll sort this out later. Yeah. No, eat what you want, mate. Eat what you want. No, turn the heating up full. Open the windows if it's a bit cold. Oh, no, don't worry. You're not paying for that. No, taxpayers are paying for that. Don't worry. So Ravenel there, he's waiting, and then he comes to get deported. All right, yeah. So Ravenel now, he says he's from Syria. All right, Ravenel, what's your address in Syria? Address in Syria? Yeah. Number 5 Damascus Street. Yeah, that address doesn't exist, Ravenel. Number 5 Damascus Street in Damascus. Yeah, that address doesn't. Can you tell us where you're from? Syria. Like, how do you, like? Okay, so then you phone Syria up. Yeah, here we've got Ravenel here. He says he lives at number 5 Damascus Street. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. There isn't that street. Okay. What should we do with him? Well, he's not ours. You can't send him here. He's not ours. Oh, okay, right. So they phoned the hotel up. Yeah, can you ask Raveno where his real address is? Because we can't send him back to his home country if he won't tell us where his home country is. What do you think Raveno's going to do? Do you think Raveno is going to like, you got me, guys. I'm going to leave this hotel and my 3 meals a day. I'll go back. I'm actually from country X and this is my, you got me, guys. No, it's not going to happen. So this, this feather puffing of mass deportations, it's absurd, guys. It's absolutely absurd. Just somebody tell me how that's going to work. Like, how is it going to work? The best solution is to just get them. Anybody who comes here, first of all, you stop people coming, all right? You put a skirmish line on the channel. Then all the people in hotels, you close the hotels down one by one, and you send people to the Western Falkland Islands. That's it. You know what, guys? You guys want to claim that, Britain was built by migrants? Fine. Get yourselves over to the Western Falkland Islands, scratch yourself a living, make the Western Falkland Islands a metropolis, create your own currency, create your own wealth, create your own metal smelting, create your own electronics, create your own energy systems. Fine. Go and do that. Go and do that. Be a colonizer. Be a colonizer. But unfortunately, guys, I don't see this. I genuinely don't see this. And I really do. But I don't think, and again, I don't want to be negative to Nigel Farage because I've met him. And he does seem, again, look, guys, I'm not like best mates with Farage. I've met him once, shook hands, had a little conversation, yada, yada, yada. I don't want it. So I'm not throwing like negativity on Nigel because I do think he's a nice guy. I just don't see him as the person that we need right now. If anyone, I'm going to choose Rupert Lowe. Right, let me get some questions. Let me get some. I'm just going to jump up and get some comments. Lord of Langwith is saying, failure to give relative information. Hang on. Failure to give relative. Hang on. Right, the chat. Hang on. Every time the chat's going crackers. Right, Lord of Langwith is saying failure to give relative information application rejected, sent back to place of original travel. So that would mean, okay, so what Lord of Langwith is saying there is, if you don't know where these people are from, you send them back to France. It's not going to happen. The French are never going to agree to that. Absolutely not. Never going to agree to that in a million years. It's not going to happen. These fantastic images of mass deportation, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This guy lost me when he said Boris would be the best leader in a war. Just Jenny. Oh, Just Jenny, you were doing so well. Now you're gone. Just Jenny. You know what, guys? I'm a dictator. Raven is a dictator. And you know what, guys? I would be the best dictator this country had ever had. I would be like King Raven, Lord of all men. That's why I feel like I should be. King Raven, Lord of all men. Table Raven Scabar. What does that mean? I don't know what Table Raven Scabar means. Tony Baloney is saying Rupert Lowe, thumbs up. The Afters is saying illegal immigration should be the only topic we cover. The elite laugh at us. All these, and again, like all these protests outside the hotels, outside here, outside there, it's stopping nothing. It's stopping nothing if the flow of illegal migrants keep coming to the United Kingdom. And it's kind of like a switch and bait thing. Everybody thinks they're winning because they're getting hotels closed down. But like, where are those guys going? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're watching tonight, we are talking about England and the cross of St. George and why it absolutely terrifies people. Now, It terrifies people because people are scared that the cross of St. George can unify people. It can bring people together, and not just bring people together. It can bring the English together. It can bring the English together to be greater than the sum of their own parts. The story of St. George, it's not about a guy who, who changed, who was very nice to people. It was not a story about somebody who helped people. It's about a knight who defeated a dragon, who faced overwhelming odds. And although George kept getting beaten, George did not give in. George kept going back and he kept fighting. He refused to admit surrender. He refused to admit defeat. He didn't have defeat in his vocabulary. And that's what terrifies people. So when I see people like Elon Musk just sharing the cross of St. George, it's a powerful statement, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolutely powerful statement. The cross of St. George was shared by Elon Musk about 12 hours ago. Fantastically powerful, guys. Fantastically powerful. And look, maybe if Elon Musk was in the United Kingdom, he would be getting arrested for hate speech, because it's going to be one of those things where people are going to be drawing red crosses on stuff, and people are going to be secretly understanding the significance of that. Two sides are saying, does this mean, hang on, oh, we've got aliens as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this live stream is going fantastic tonight. We have got the St. George's Cross. We have got space. We've got aliens. We have got absolutely everything on here. So let me go with two sides here on TikTok. He's saying, does this mean we can't fly our flag at the England football match on the 6th of September at Villa Park? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if you can or not. Maybe not. Listen, I would not like to speculate where you cannot fly the cross of St. George. I'm certainly flying it outside my house. Ray is just throwing aliens in there. Ray, look, guys, I know you guys do this on purpose, and I know that you guys know that I cannot resist alien talk. I can't. I wish we talked about aliens more. I wish we talked about alternate dimensions. I wish we talked about space travel. I wish we had a world where we were going into space. I wish we had a world where, rather than look at these guys are fighting these guys and these guys are doing this to these young girls, and we kind of don't like that, but we're not allowed to say we don't like that. And if we mention that these guys are doing this to these young girls, we're the ones in the problem. And I wish we didn't have 12-year-old girls who are having to protect themselves, with stone and shield. But that's the reality of the world, guys. I would much prefer us to be living in a world where we were looking at headlines that were, the Russians have just created a new base on the moon. The Chinese have just put solar panels around the sun. The Americans have just developed a new engine. In fact, no, the British would develop the new engine. The Americans have just developed a new way to bring back the infinite resources of the cosmos to Earth. Britain have just developed a new engine that can take us faster and further than we've ever been before. I would much rather that as a future for our children than the one that we have now. I would, guys. I would. But yeah, sorry. Where was that? Somebody was just talking about aliens there. I will continue with the aliens. I'll find that aliens thing. Who just talked about aliens then and the asteroid? Somebody was. There we are. So sorry, I pinned that and then I went on a massive. I went on a side quest. So Ray is saying Three Eye Atlas is on the way. Maybe that's why they're here. Who knows? You got to ask yourself. Yeah. So the talk is, guys, that this asteroid on its way here. It's here in October. Halloween. Halloween is when it's supposed to be here. People are saying that this could be an advanced party, an alien probe, and the real aliens are coming in 2029. I don't know if that's real, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not counting anything out because you know what? It's 2025 and all bets are off. Let me jump down because quite a few comments just jumped up. The Afters is saying, hearing about HS2, slow failure and corruption being exhausting. Yeah, so yeah, it's unbelievable. Dap is saying, evening Raven and evening to you as well, Dap. What do you think about lockdown routines being taught in schools? Yeah, so the government advice now is that all schools should have a lockdown procedure. I did a live stream on this. In fact, I did two. I did I did run, hide, fight, and I did what to do. And look, guys, if you've not seen those videos have been uploaded to YouTube because we are triple streaming, ladies and gentlemen. We're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, and we are on X. So if you can, please hit those buttons, ladies and gentlemen. The like, follow, subscribe, bell notification. If you're watching on TikTok, the buttons are up here somewhere. If you're watching on YouTube, the buttons are down there somewhere. Can you hit those buttons, guys? Really helps me out when you do that. So I did do a live stream about that, but the question is, what do I think about these lockdown drills? It's just part of the new world that we're in now, guys. We're having to do lockdown drills to schools because I even did a live stream saying that I believe schools are targets now. So we are in a scenario where schools are now targets. We're not allowed to say that because it would be racist, I guess, if you said schools are target. Schools are targets, unfortunately, now. Like, look at Blackpool, guys. I've never seen these RAM bars or diversity bars, as we call it, in Blackpool before. If you guys know what I'm talking about, on the I thought it was later on in the year, but it's not. It's like the 29th of August, I think. The Blackpool illuminations get turned on. Again, I always thought it was like October time, but whatever. We've got RAM bars now. If you guys think about Blackpool, the whole Blackpool where the lights are in Blackpool, it's just one straight road. So you can imagine the issues that could happen there. Dap is saying, I missed your streams. Well, don't worry, Dap. You can jump over those and get those on YouTube. Miss T is saying, do you still think we will have schools with detectors to the kids to walk through? I don't think it really matters if we've got. I think all these. So hang on, let me pin this. So Miss T is saying, basically what she's saying is, do you think schools will have metal detectors? I don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters whether they have metal detectors or not. If people are going to do bad stuff, they'll find a way to do it. The metal detectors are just going to cost money. Where do you stop? Okay, you get a metal detector. Okay, right. What if somebody throws something over the fence at lunchtime? Right, okay. So now we have to have a higher fence. We have to have, where do we go with this, guys? We're not judging the root cause. We're not identifying the root cause. And the root cause of all this is we've had our culture absolutely destroyed. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I'm going to close this down now on TikTok. But don't worry. Raven's still going to be here. I'm still going to be here. I might need to stretch my legs, but I'm still going to be here. I'm going to be over on YouTube. And I do need to be careful on YouTube because I said a few words. Or phrases yesterday, last night, and my YouTube got restricted as well. So, God knows what would have happened if I was on TikTok. So, guys, listen, I am going to close this down in a couple of minutes on TikTok. I will still be open on YouTube for a little while. I don't know how long. I mean, I can see the comments jumping up, so I might be on there for a while. But if you've not done so already, guys, go hit those buttons, like, follow, subscribe, bell notification. Because honestly, guys, I literally, when I say, I tell you stuff and then it happens. I've told you that Elon Musk was going to start funding people in the United Kingdom. It's happened. All these things that are happening now, I've told you. And honestly, guys, I do not see any scenario right now. I can't see any scenario where the United Kingdom does not get turned into Northern Ireland, but on masses of creatine. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I'll talk more about that on when we jump over to YouTube. The crux of this video, ladies and gentlemen, has been England, the cross of St. George, and why people are afraid of it. Why people are absolutely terrified of the cross of St. George. Why it terrifies people. And do you know what, guys? I say quite rightly so as well. People should be afraid of the cross of St. George. People who are not English Christians, they should be afraid of the cross of St. George because that unites the greatest country that the world has ever seen. And I believe at some point we could again become something greater than the sum of our own parts. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close TikTok down now and I will be over on YouTube where I can talk a little bit more openly. Right, give me a second. I'll try and close this down. And I hope I'll be back on at 10 in the morning, guys. I really do. I hope I can be back on at 10 in the morning. This morning, I had absolutely loads of work to do. I did. I hope I had loads of work to do this morning. I was literally like up doing loads of stuff. Anyway, guys, I'm going over now. I'll be over on YouTube and I will see you there. And we're off. And we are off. Right, give me a second, guys. Let me close this down now proper so the screen's not... close that one, move that. Listen, guys, I've totally gone like on a sidetrack there to what I was talking about. Right. I'm just gonna put Elon Musk's last few I'm on Elon Musk's page now. Okay, I'm just gonna read this out. I am gonna miss a few words because he's pinned this comment. 85 cities in Britain where local authorities were complicit in, the thing that's happened to children. So he's pinning that, the 85, and that's from Rupert Lowe. And then 1 hour ago, Elon Musk, but unfortunately, the reality is that Farage will do almost nothing to protect Britain. That is obvious. Again, guys, look, I'm telling you the same stuff. I'm telling you this over a year ago. Existing law is clear that anyone who was an accessory to aggravated, the things that happen to the girls or worse, especially with children, is guilty of a serious crime, must either serve time in prison or if a citizen or deported. If not, the government simply needs to enforce this law. Yeah, and he's quoting Rupert Lowe again. Look, guys, Elon Musk is going to give a ton of money to Rupert Lowe. Then 12 hours ago, guys, look, I don't know if you've seen this. Let me know in the comments if you've seen this. But it's so elemental. In fact, it's so elemental. Again, I'm on Elon Musk's page now. He just posted literally the cross of St. George. And he didn't put anything there. He just posted the cross of St. George. So powerful, guys. And then 2 hours ago, this is the main one. This is the main one, guys, okay? He's come out and he said, I would like to fund legal action against corrupt officials who aided and abetted the things that happen to children in Britain per the official government inquiry. Please reply below for consideration. So he's giving that's going to be it, guys, and people don't understand what this actually means. That's an infinite money well. That's an infinite money well there, right there, straight away, guys. Infinite money well. Right, let me jump into the questions, ladies and gentlemen. Let me jump onto the comments of you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Positive programming for mind, spirit, body, and spirit is saying, Ravenel, that's such a good name. I can't help myself. Sorry. Well, there you go. If I'm just going to jump down to the bottom, D. Marie Gen X is saying, the United Kingdom is looking like a right joke. Just look at what Elon is posting and Charlie Kirk now. General Flynn, who knows to have Trump here. And what Flynn said about Starmer is so funny. Look, guys, it's all part of subversion. This is the bigger plan going on, guys. There's a bigger plan. I'm all for the bigger plan. And the bigger plan is for the United Kingdom. Look, guys, how do you feel now? You've got these big American influence. You've got this big American influence now. Coming into the United Kingdom, saying we're going to help, saying, and spreading this knowledge. At some point, the United States are going to take over the United Kingdom. And look, guys, I'll be quite clear. I'm all for that. I'm for that. I'm for that. I don't see the negativity there. But what you've got to understand is the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is this. The Russians are going to win in Ukraine. Unfortunately, do you know what? Let me rephrase that. I don't see how the West can stop the Russians. Yeah, I think that's bad. I don't see how the West right now, as they're structured, can maybe there's going to be a dramatic move. It would have to be a mass dramatic move, you know. But I don't see how the West, minus the United States, can stop that that Russian advance. I don't, guys. I really don't see that. So if the West, sorry, if the Russians take Ukraine, then they've taken Europe. There's nothing to stop them in Europe. They probably go around Luxembourg because for some reason Luxembourg always like avoids everything. But anyway, so in that scenario, the Russians make it all the way through France. They stop at the English Channel because they can't get over because it's a big patch of water and you can't get over water. At that point, Britain would have fought an absolute like blinder. We would be absolutely exhausted. We'd have nothing left. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, you never get a winner in a war. You just get two losers, and you get a less loser and a big loser. At that stage, we'd be bankrupt. We'd have nothing, because we gave everything to that conflict and we lost. The United States would come over. They would take control. That's what has to happen. And don't forget, the Russians would be bankrupt as well because they've just had to fight through Europe. So the Chinese would take control of Russia. And by de facto, you have Oceania and Eurasia. If you guys have read George Orwell's 1984, that's pretty much the direction of travel that we're heading to. Paul Sullivan is saying, well, now Ukraine has 3 times attacked European pipelines. Things are about to change. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know what's happened. Obviously, I've got no information other than what's been speculated online. But it does look like there was some Ukrainian involvement in taking out the, what was it, Nord Stream 2? And what are the other 2 pipelines? I don't know what the other 2 pipelines are. Lisa Jane is saying, excuse me. She's not saying excuse me. I'm saying excuse me. Lisa Jane is saying, if you can see that the Russians will beat Ukraine, why can't them in high powers see the same? The reason people in high power can't see what I see is because they're in high power, therefore they don't think for themselves. They're not objective. They literally do what they're told. So a question for you, Lisa Jane. Do you think Keir Starmer is in charge of the country? Do you think Angela Rayner is in charge of the country? Do you think Wes Streeting is in charge of anything? Do you think David Lammy, do you think David Lammy is, do you think he's making any decisions? So you see now you've got this political class who've been bought and paid for by foreign investment companies, banks. I don't know. Foreign investment, you can say banks, you can say families, it doesn't really matter, corporations. So they do what they're told as a financial decision. And the financial decision is to have a war. Positive mind, body, and spirit is saying, positive programming, sorry, for mind, body, and spirit is saying, I'd love it to be real aliens, but I fear Project Blue Beam plan. We need to be able to notice the difference somehow. I don't know how. Yeah. Again, so what I'll say to that is, I don't think it matters. I think it's just the perception. It's not going to matter for the rank and file person in the world whether this is a real alien invasion or whether it's Project Bluebeam. If people are told it's an alien invasion, then 90% of the people will believe it's an alien invasion and they'll do exactly as they're told. And you can't fight against that, unfortunately. I think information's the only way, really. Lord of Langwith is saying, I wouldn't want to be part of the US. Think of all our history thrown away. The great deeds of our ancestors just forgotten. I'd rather go down fighting than sign everything over to the Americans. I don't think it'll be like that, Lord of Langwith. I really don't. I mean, if you look at the states of America, Texas has a rich history. States of America can operate independently. So I don't, in fact, you know what? We wouldn't lose our history. We would still have all our history. None of that would change. We would just come under the administration of the United States. And I do think that would be a good thing. First of all, we would get a constitution, so we would be able to hold the government to account. And people say we have a constitution in the United Kingdom. We don't. We don't have a constitution. It's a myth. It's a fabrication. There is nothing written down that says we are the government. We will provide this. If we do not provide this, we are in breach of our constitution. Nothing. And I always talk about this. So I do think it'd be a good thing, guys. I do think it'd be a good thing if we became part of the United States. Oh, hang on. Right, guys, there's a pheasant. I've got some pheasants in the garden. Wait there. I think we may be able to go and look at the pheasants. Just wait there. Sorry, guys, I literally opened the door and they flew off. I wanted to come outside and show you the pheasants outside, but literally flew off as soon as I opened the door. I do apologize. The next time there's pheasants in the garden, we'll go out and have a look at the pheasants. Fiona Flynn, hello Fiona Flynn, is saying, love talking about aliens, space, etc. But I would also love to know how you predicted Elon Musk funding things in the UK. So it was an inevitability that this would happen. You've got to understand subversion. Now, Fiona, I've done lots of videos on subversion, how the United Kingdom is being subverted, and it's quite a long topic. Excuse me. But as part of subversion, you have to fund different groups, and different people have to fund different groups, and you cause you have a reaction in that country. So, like, if you want to go back through my videos, lots of videos, and people on this chat will confirm I've said this. I've said things like, if somebody from the United States says, I said a big funder, potentially Elon Musk, is going to fund people's legal fees, legal battles, or whatever, that is going to fuel that fire. So it was just a high likelihood that this would happen. And again, you can imagine, like, I've got lots of friends I've got lots of American friends, and I speak to them, and they say, Sean, bro, what's happening to your country? This is painful to watch. Because Americans have an affinity with the United Kingdom. They know that, we're like their granddad. And they're looking at what's happening. And of course they want to help. Of course, the Anglosphere want to stick together. The Anglosphere is powerful. The Anglosphere is strong. Christianity is strong. Catholicism is strong. I would even say the Orthodox is strong. So when things like this happen, people will rise and people will put their hands in their pockets. And Elon Musk has unlimited pockets. And if you want to, I'm not going to go into where he got his money, but that's that is why I said that would happen. Right. Tracy McKibben is saying the next election is too far away. It is too far away. There's nothing we can do about it. And look, Tracy, do not write off the Labour Party. And again, hang on, let me just come back quickly. Whose question did I just answer before? Hang on. Fiona. So Fiona's still on. Fiona, if you're still on, this is something I'm saying now and I've been saying recently. do not write off the Labour Party. And this is what I'm predicting. Round about January 2029, Keir Starmer will stop the boats. He will stop the boats. He will put the Royal Navy on the border, in the English Channel, and he will say, right, guys, under international law, that's been international law for probably like 100 years, any vessel of the Crown has the right to take any vessel in distress back to the nearest shoreline. So what I want you to do, get yourselves there on that shore, on that borderline. When you see a rubber dinghy coming out towards you, go out, intercept it, and tow it back to France. Yep, go and do that. You don't need to leave the ECHR for that. You don't need any legal framework to do on that. You need nothing. Now, I did a video on this last year, maybe even 2 years ago. If you guys want to go and look, guys, all my videos are public record. The video I'm talking about, I've pinned it to the top of my TikTok. I've got red shorts on and I'm sat in a chair. Literally, go and watch that video. So I'm not making these things up and I'm not jumping on any bandwagon. I'm telling you, and I've been telling you for a while, what's going to happen. So that will happen. So you will stop migration within it. It'll take about 6 hours from wanting to stop migration. It will stop 6 hours to stop. It will take 6 hours to stop the boats. Then they'll start mass deportations to somewhere. It will be drastic. But if you think about the numbers that are involved, doesn't matter. You can deport 1,000 people a day. It's not going to make any difference. We've already reached saturation point now. And as soon as they won the next election, they'll be like, yeah, let's just, bring the ships back. Let them, you see where I'm going, guys? We need drastic action. People need to understand it's not the politicians, it's the political system that's the problem. Successive governments for decades have encouraged mass legal and illegal migration to such a state right now where we don't have any unity anymore. D-Marie Gen X is saying, D-Marie Gen X is Sean, with current imminent trajectory, DJ Donald Trump will be able to strong arm the UK into calling an early election. I don't think he will. What would those circumstances look like if they ever happen? Okay, so if it ever happened, I don't think it could. But if we're gonna go, how could the UK be called into an early general election? What he could say, it'd have to have something to be involved with Ukraine. Look, guys, D-Marie Gen X is asking me a question. I'm answering it as best I can in real time, ladies and gentlemen. I don't go on YouTube. I don't go on Google stuff. I answer questions in real time. So a potential scenario for this to happen would be UK is involved in the war in Ukraine. Donald Trump says, right, look, you guys need to have an election or I'm stopping weapons going because I don't believe that you guys want Keir Starmer in charge. You guys need to choose. You need to have another election. You need to choose if you want that leader in charge, and whatever leader's in charge, whatever they want to do, we'll go with it. And we may or may not supply weapons afterwards. I think that is a potential. I'd have to have a better think about it, but I think I'm pretty solid with my answer, guys. I'm pretty solid with my answer. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this one down now. I will be, in fact, let me take that comment down. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this one down now. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight, guys. I did have a total different live stream planned, but that didn't go to plan. We just had to, that didn't go to plan. We just had to cuff it, ladies and gentlemen. But it is what it is. We cuffed it. We had a good time. You guys have been fantastic. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the crux of this video is England and the cross of St. George. Why it terrifies people. It terrifies people because it brings people together. It brings people together, not just bringing people together. It brings people together with a struggle. It brings people together and reminds people not to give in, no matter the odds, no matter the mountain in front of you, no matter the dragon or the I don't know, whatever you guys want to imagine as the four, but people should not give in and to keep going no matter what the odds are. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going now. You guys have been fantastic as always. I'll be back at 10, I hope, unless I get like this morning, I had a ton of work coming. Like I had maybe like 40 messages on the group chat that I had to deal with. But I will hopefully be back at 10 in the morning. I'll see you later, guys.